Hey man, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. Just working on shit. See Slender's popping off. That's cool.
Yeah. I hate it. So I heard you've been playing Splatoon lately.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
many how, how many hours do you have, dude? I haven't seen you in like fucking weeks. How many hours do you have?
Uh, just a few.
How many hours do you have?
Uh, a bit.
There's a gun to my head and they want me to know how many hours you have. How many hours do you have?
Uh, More than two.
Matthew BC Lillard III. How many hours do you have?
So if you haven't noticed by this point, I'm kind of addicted to Splatoon. Ever since I got back into 2, I've just been hooked. And ever since 3 came out, I've been hooked on that. So why don't we talk about that? The basic story is, the great Zapfish has been kidnapped.
You can't keep getting away with it!
After going into a gutter, you meet Craig Cuttlefish, ex-captain of the new Squid Splatoon. He gives you a gun before you start the tutorial level. The tutorial world is very much like Octo Valley and Canyon, levels where you break boxes and collect the Zapfish. Beating the tutorial gives you some power eggs, which you give to little buddy so he can recreate that one Nikocado Avocado video where he eats his hair. Oh yeah, the hair. As you see, there's fur fucking everywhere. Most of the Octarians have fur as well. Why is that? I'll talk about that later. We continue to force little buddy to eat hair and collect more rats until we get to our first boss, DJ Octavio. Seems a bit early for this, don't you think? It's a fun fight, we get to throw our little rat around. Before we recreate the Undertale intro. Welcome to Alterna. How was the fall? You meet up with the rest of the Squid Splatoon, who happen to be the Squid Sisters and Captain 3, who I will talk about later. Gameplay here is more of what the tutorial world was: complete levels for cash, use eggs to throw a little buddy to clean fur, find literal trash I can put in my locker, and find fish. Finding these allow you to level up in the skill tree. Speaking of that, it's alright. Some upgrades are more helpful than others, like Incapacity Up and Better Hero Shot are better than Ninja Squid and a Sensor. There's also bombs that I barely used. I used the Burst Bomb once, Curling Bombs like 4 times on the last level, and I never used the Splat Bomb. The skill tree isn't hard to level up, so I mean, you might as well just finish it. On to actual levels. Into the box breaking levels from Octo Canyon / Valley, we get levels that are more like Octo Expansion, which are levels designed around a certain weapon and or enemy. These types of levels are fun. You get shit like dodging shockwaves, infinite special levels, limited ink levels, the box level, shit like that. Levels will either be free or make you pay. You can tell by the kettle color. If it's gold, it's free. If it's not, it's gonna cost some eggs. Except one level that I'll talk about later. Also, when you beat a level, you do a fucking Giga Chat pose. Completing enough levels allows you to get rid of the fur, which allows us to get to... Oh yeah, Deep Cut's here. They showed up earlier. I probably should have mentioned that. They say they want the treasure that Alterna has before leaving. They seem nice. The rest of the sites are the same. A bunch of levels and fur that you have to clear. But some sites have boss kettles. Site 2's boss kettle has a fight against Frye. It's fun. She has this big ass cube she uses to send eels at you. The stunner, you have to shoot eels with outlined eyes back at her to climb up her cube. It's an easy fight. She gave me some trouble when I first fought her, mainly because I just didn't upgrade my gun. Also, I didn't know what to do against this attack. Site 4's boss kettle has a fight against Shiver, who's a big ass shark. The stunner, shoot the shark till she falls off. Every phase, the platform you're on will shrink, so be careful about that. When I first fought her, it took me a while because I didn't know you could shoot the shark while it's in the water. Site 6 boss kettle is a fight against Big Man, and it's easy as shit. Just keep shooting and you'll win. After you beat Deep Cut and get the junk they call treasure, we go into a building montage. After that, Captain sprains a tentacle. I didn't even know that was possible. Deep Cut shows up and we just give them the treasure. They feel so bad they join us. Remember kids, it's that simple. We climb up the rocket and meet. He made a rocket and filled it with goo that leaves hair everywhere. Also, Cuttlefish got dried up, but 3 brings him back to life. And with the help of D-Cut, we're on the rocket for the final boss. It's alright. Move forward on the rocket while collecting big power eggs until you reach Mr. Grizz, then you shoot the spot till it breaks and you throw eggs in there. Add 2 more phases where he attacks more and rotates the ship. And that's the first part of the fight. The second part of the fight involves you riding on Octavia's ship, trying to suck up goo while dodging Mr. Grizz attacks and the random enemies the game throws at you. Just like Splatoon 1 and 2, they play Calamari Inkantation. This time, they play the 3 mix.
Get it?
Besides the music, I don't really like this part. The ship controls fine, not much to say about that. I'm just not much of a fan of having to stop to kill random enemies. I just think it slows it down, which I guess is the point, but I was kind of hoping Mr. Grizz would attack more. After taking enough of the goo from Grizz's body, the fight's over and the world is saved. Also, I forgot to mention that little buddy transform. You sure can't do that. And with that, we're back in Splatsville, where we see the Zapfish is back, and the Squid Sisters released a new solo, Wave Goodbye. You're rewarded with the Hero Shot replica and the final secret level after Alterna. Haven't done it, don't plan on it, don't really care for the rewards. Now that the gameplay's done, let's talk about the characters. First off, there's Callie. She's the one you mainly see talking, which makes sense because Mari was mainly talking in 2. Anyways, Callie's a fun character. She's full energy and has a bunch of random eggs for some reason. Even though I don't think Marie has a ton of dialogue, she's still fun. She also talks a lot for the captain. Speaking of the captain, I kinda wish they did more with them. When you bring the hero from 1 and the person who saved you and gave you the hardest challenge in 2, and they do nothing most of the game, I find it a bit disappointing. I did like that scene with the treasure where they used it to clear out the hair. They did show some emotions, and they also showed they aren't invincible, which they also did in 2 when they crashed your roof and passed the fuck out. Oh yeah, and there's the scene where their tears bring back Cuttlefish. That shows they care for them, that's neat. Oh yeah, and then there's Deep Cut. I love them. They try to act menacing, but they're so fucking goofy. I mean, look at these. It's also said that the reason they want the treasure is so they can help out the less fortunate people in Splatsville, which is really good for them. While cleaning out Alterna, you've probably found some sunk controls, and they give some lore on characters and fun stuff like that. Here's some of my favorites. But if you want some of the deep lore, you're gonna want to read the Alterna logs. There's 7 Alterna logs, 1 for each site, and a bonus one for beating after Alterna. They talk about the people who lived on Alterna and how the Inklings and Octolings came to be. Let's go over that. But this time, instead of me doing it, I'm gonna have this fucking computer do it. The work, you piece of shit, come on, I paid $7 for you, you bitch.
As life in Alterna moved forward, one scientist discovered a new way to make liquid crystals from the body of fluids of squids. These new crystals could change color in response to faint and fleeting electrical signals emitted by living organisms. To put that in more human terms, these crystals could read minds, and then output imagery that matched the viewer's innermost thoughts. As the inner walls of Alterna collapsed, thousands of tons of rock and liquid crystal plunged into the waters below. As these crystals washed to and fro among the float sam and jet sam of humanity's former colony, they broke into microscopic fragments. Because they had repeatedly absorbed and reflected humanity's wishes over so many years, the crystals now retained those feelings. Little by little, the squids, octopuses, and assorted sea creatures that thrived in the waters of Alterna absorbed these crystals into their bodies. This process continued until one day, the marine organisms began to feel something fresh. These fresh impulses bore a striking resemblance to humanity's past desire to return to the Earth's surface. Spurred by these impulses and whatever else may have been floating in the polluted waters, the sea creatures began to evolve rapidly. Each species developed pulmonary respiration, mobility, and other traits consistent with land-dwelling creatures. They began to adapt. Their intelligence grew at a remarkable pace across generations. Some species even gained extraordinary camouflage capabilities. A point of no return arrived. The sea creatures of Alterna set foot on dry land and never looked back. Like humans, they strove for the surface. Of course, survival on land was harsh, but the creatures were persistent. Soon, they found the tunnels that humans had used to escape the apocalypse. With their path forward now clear, these fresh, fledgling beings left the ruins of Alterna behind and set their sights on the surface world. Recall for a moment the first apocalypse that devastated the human race. Those who escaped into the caverns of Alterna were not the sole survivors. There were others who escaped via a giant rocket ship, the Ark Polaris. Launched in the nick of time, this ship was laden with many of Earth's species that had been placed in a cold sleep. The mission was simple: find another planet to replace the Earth. Considering the circumstances of this launch, the Polaris had a very smooth voyage, until it reached the edge of the solar system. It was at that point that the breeze struck the vessel, damaging its navigation system. The crew was able to turn the ship around and head back towards Earth, but the effort was in vain. There was not enough fuel to attempt a landing. The Ark Polaris drifted aimlessly for 10,000 years. Eons passed. The once stable orbit of the Polaris decayed over time, until the ship found itself in the inescapable pull of Earth's gravity. Re-entry was not kind to its inhabitants. All perished, save one. Bear number 3, an experimental subject who had retained consciousness within his cold hibernation, survived. For 12,000 years, he had dreamed and plotted. Fully awake, Bear number 3 came to a terrible realization. He had not landed on a new planet. He was back on Earth, and yet it was not an Earth he knew. This Earth, it seemed, was dominated by sea creatures, not a single mammal to be found. In the course of his search for a single fellow mammal, Bear number 3 had used navigational equipment from the wreckage of the Ark Polaris to discover Alterna. It was a wasteland, of course, but a few of the liquid crystals that had once covered the walls and ceiling remained. With knowledge built during his thousands of years of dreaming, he repaired some of Alterna's facilities and began researching the crystals. This research bore fruit when Bear number 3 compounded some of the liquid crystals with his own fur. The experiment created an entirely new substance with one terrifying property. It could transform any living creature into a mammal. Bear number 3 realized the implications immediately. He could restore the planet to a mammalian paradise. He began stockpiling fuzzy ooze, as he called it, within Alterna's still intact rocket. For such a venture, he would acquire the acquisition of 1,000 golden eggs. These were used in the creation of fuzzy ooze, although the exact details have never been recorded in memory banks. But Bear number 3 had a plan. He founded a corporation that would go on to employ locals to collect the golden eggs under the name Grizzco Industries. Mr. Grizz, as he would now be known, would pay handsomely for them. With fuzzy ooze production peaking thanks to the assistance of the unsuspecting Inklings and Octolings, Mr. Grizz took the final steps to set his plan into motion. The rocket was loaded. It wouldn't be long now.
We can't talk about Splatoon without talking about the music, so here are some of my favorites from the story mode. And that's a wrap on the story mode. It's really good. You should try it if you haven't already. And now that we've finished that, we can finally talk about online. Splatoon 3 has 58 weapons, with 11 weapon types, which are shooters, blasters, chargers, rollers, brushes, sloshers, splatlins, dualies, brellas, stringers, and splatanas. Those last two being newly added ones, so let's go over them. Shooters are your basic gun. They sure do shoot. Some shoot faster, some shoot farther, some do more damage. Blasters are slow shooting guns with good damage and bullets that have an impact. Some have range and some fire fast. Chargers are the snipers of Splatoon. As the name implies, they charge shots. Some quickly build charge while not doing as much damage, and some do the opposite. Rollers are great for covering. They have a normal horizontal swing on the ground and a vertical swing in the air. One is fast but doesn't do much damage, and one is really good at covering a lot but is slow. And also one is good for flinging aim. Brushes are a more mobile version of rollers. One is more speedy, and the other is slower but can cover more. Sloshers are buckets of ink you can throw. Some throw faster, one fucking explodes, one shoots bubbles, and then there's the sloshing machine. Splatlings are the miniguns that you charge before letting go of the trigger to fire. Some charge faster but don't have much range, and some take more time to charge but have great range. Dualies are guns that allow you to roll. Some roll quicker, one has 4 rolls, and one has good damage. Umbrellas are guns that can put up a shield when they shoot. Two can only put up a shield when they aren't shooting, which also allows them to shoot the shield, which covers the floor in ink. And one can shoot while being protected, but the umbrella cannot shoot off. Stringers are bows that can shoot 3 shots that you can charge up. One leaves behind an exploding thing, and the other shoots fast and does good damage if you hit your shots, but there is no exploding thing. Finally, splatanas are melee weapons that are good at covering turf. One is average, and one covers more but is slower. We're not done yet, we got subs to talk about now. We got burst bombs, splat bombs, suction bombs, curling bombs, auto bombs, ink mines, fizzy bombs, ink walls, sprinklers, point sensors, squid beacons, torpedoes, toxic mist, and a new sub, angle shooter. Lastly, our specials. I'll go over the ones from 2 first. We got Booyah Bomb, Ink Storm, Ink Jet, Tenna Missiles, and Ultra Sting. The new ones include Big Bubbler, Crab Tank, Ink Vac, Killer Whale 5.1, Reef Slider, Tacticooler, Triple Ink Strike, Trizuka, Wavebreaker, and Zipcaster. Each weapon have its sub and special, so try what you think would be fun. Turf War is Splatoon's main game mode. 2 teams of 4 have 3 minutes to cover more of the map than the other team. It can be hectic, but goddamn is it a blast. Anarchy is what 3 called ranked, and there are more changes how rank works this time around. In the previous game you had a rank for every ranked game mode. It was shown as a bar that would fill up if you win and crack and break if you lost. In 3 you've combined rank for all modes. Gaining and losing rank has changed too. You have your points you get from playing rank that you spend to start playing, and then you play well to get back. You play till you win 5 games or lose 3, meaning you can play a minimum of 3 games or a max of 7. Enough about that, let's talk about ranked game modes. There's Tower Controller, where you ride a tower to the other side, Splat Zones, where you cover a zone to deplete a meter to win, Rainmaker, where you try to take a Rainmaker to the other team's base, but now with checkpoints, and Clam Blitz, where you collect clams and chuck them at the other team's basket to win. I love all these modes, they're hectic as fuck and fun to play. Salmon Run is a mode where you and friends / randoms yell at each other because nobody can put a fucking egg in the basket, even though that's the whole fucking point of the mode. We're professional rank, for fuck's sake. How did you get here, moron? Back on track. Salmon Run is a mode where you and 3 others work together to put eggs in a basket to meet a quota, while these fish-like creatures called salmonoids try to stop you. All Salmon Run games are 3 rounds that last 100 seconds, except for when this meter fills up and you get an extra wave that's just a big boss that you and your team have to work together to defeat. Just like Turf and Anarchy, Salmon Run is on a rotation, but instead of the maps just being rotated, weapons are on rotation as well, which is part of the fun. Trying to finish your job with whatever random weapons are on rotation is kind of fun, but also annoying because sometimes you get shit. Speaking of doing a job, how do we get these eggs to put in the basket? Well, by beating bosses! Duh! Moron. Let's go over them. Steelheads are big fish that can't be killed unless you shoot the bomb on their head. They are annoying. Flyfish are little shits that shoot missiles at you from the other side of the map. Throw bombs in the crates to kill them. Scrappers are salmonoids who have cars. Shoot them to stun them and go behind them to kill them. Steel eels are salmonoids who control metal eels. Kill the salmonoid in the back to destroy the eel. Stringers are annoying rats that shoot lasers at you. Shoot their pots to kill them. Moths are salmonoids that come from below. Throw bombs in their ring to kill them. Drizzlers are salmonoids who protect themselves and shoot ink storms. Either shoot them or shoot their bombs back at them to kill them. Fish sticks drop a pole on the ground and spin around. Shoot on them to kill them. Flipper floppers are fish that shoot a ring on the ground, colored in your own ink to kill them. Big shots are big boys who have a cannon that acts like a wave breaker. You can also put your own eggs in there. Finally, slamolids are UFO looking things that have force fields. Go under it so it falls and you'll be able to kill them. That's all the bosses you'll see, but there's still one more thing to spice up your job. Random events. Let's go over them. The most common events are high and low tides. They will either increase or decrease how much of the map you can go. They can also happen on any other event. Glowfly rushes are nightmares. Basically, glowflies will appear around someone, All the salmonoids rush to that person. You have to work together to not die while meeting the quota by killing golden fish. Fog is pretty self-explanatory. There's fog. Golden salmonoids will also appear during this. Depending on if you have a high or low tide, griller waves can be fine or an absolute nightmare. Grillers are grills that can target someone and go after them. To kill them, keep hitting their exposed part, but be warned, grillers can instant kill. Cohort charges are pretty normal waves except to replace all non-boss salmonoids with cohocks. You have cannons, so it ain't so bad. Goldie seeking waves are alright. Gushers will spawn, shoot them to find the goldie. And that's it. Mothership waves are fun. A big ass crate appears and salmonoids fly in to drop enemies. Kill them to have them drop eggs, but be careful, the mothership will try and steal eggs. Mudmuffs are gross looking things that you have to throw bombs in their mouths to kill. There's also a gold version which drops more eggs. Finally, the tornado is an event where an egg crate is dropped on shore and you have to bring him back while random enemies are dropped on you. And that's all for how your job works. Each job you complete gives you points that fills this meter for reward. If you have any questions, read the manual. I don't get paid enough for this. Let's quickly go over this. Tableturf is a new side mode in Splatoon 3. It works like this. After you choose your deck and given your cards, you put whatever card you want, as long as it's right next to your color, to cover more of the board than your opponent. You can also use specials to cover their spots. To build specials, cover your orange blocks on all sides. You can do this for a few turns before you see who wins. This mode's fun. I mainly like collecting the cards. If you want to know my strat, I use a deck called the Idol deck, which has cards of the idols. I don't have much of a strategy if you can tell. For characters outside of the story mode, we have Merge, who sells orders, up star power, and adds abilities. He's a lot nicer than he is in 2 and looks better. Sheldon, who sells weapons and is a walking definition of a nerd emoji. Gnarly Eddie and Nails, who sell headgear. Nails is loud and Eddie isn't. Jill LaFleur, who sells shirts. He's wise, old, and likes to sell me the same shirt over and over again. Please stop, I already own the Kinza coat. Mr. Coco is large, friendly, and sells me the legit super sneaker highs. Finally, there's Harmony, who made Blitz It and nothing else. She sells junk that you can put in your locker. Oh yeah, and how could I forget everyone else in the plaza for giving me such great messages like these. The music is still as good as always, unless you're Shiva and Ray, who doesn't like the OST and lives at this home address. Anyway, here's some of my favorites. And with that, that's all I have to say on Splatoon 3 for right now. I fucking love this game, and I can't wait to see the new shit coming down the line. That's all for now. See ya.
One wish that I can't pretend I don't wanna see come true. I know it wouldn't make a difference if you thought of me as much as I think about you. But maybe it's deliverance from the pain I know is coming on when my old soul's finally gone. It's not wrong to think about it, but I'll stop for tonight, cause we're immortalized forever in the songs that we write, you know?